Welcome, friends. So nice to see all of you. There are a lot of new faces I see as the time passes on, which is good to see because we are all seekers in this world. And because of various reasons, we have been seeking. We don't know why we are a seeker. Sometimes we just thought that this world is full of joy, a wonderful ride, as Master used to say. So maybe we wanted that, and maybe we are tired of seeking that, the joy that we thought this world provided, endless joy. But maybe we realized along the way that it is not so. This world is made of ups and downs. As I was coming in here, flying, and I was watching a movie, this was a Lego movie. Some of the kids might relate to it. Lego movie of Batman, So in that movie, there's a villain, Joker. He's trying to fight with the Batman. And the whole movie is based on that, So it's good versus evil. And so the Joker is sort of tempting Batman, telling him that I'm your best enemy, I'm your worst enemy, and you would not exist without me. And that is so true. If there was no Joker, if there was no villain, what is the role of Batman? What is he going to fight? He won't have any attribute. He won't have any good qualities, that we are so attracted to. All the Superman, all the superheroes that we are attracted towards, they would not exist, if there was no role for a villain, And so in this movie, the bad guy, Joker, recounts, he tries to convince Batman that I'm your fiercest enemy, and that's why you are so attached to me. And Batman says that no, he's not attached to him at all. And then the Joker recounts to him in the movie that, see, in 1990s there was a movie made where you fought me, and before that there was another one. And so he listed all the movies where the fight went on. So as a director, there have been so many movies made about Batman, how he's fighting different evils. And so from a director's vantage point, we are sort of able to enjoy this fight. A fight between good and the evil. And sometimes the fight is gruesome, sometimes it's funny. Joker is a funny character. And yet we are able to distance ourselves and look at both the characters and sort of enjoy them. And I think that's why probably we also, are playing this character, or all our individual personalities that we have, put on ourselves. A jacket, different kind of jackets that we have been wearing, and we are maybe somehow tired of it. Maybe there are moments that we enjoy in our life, and that is what this experience, the physical experience that we are having, is composed of. There are ups, there are downs, and we somehow, because of past reasons that we cannot relate to immediately, maybe we are a seeker. The fact that we are sitting in this room, it cannot be just a coincidence that, out of so many places that we could be at, we chose to, come here and do satsang. Watching this guy, give a lecture, I would not do it, But yet, here we are, and so many people probably tuned in, and so many people who have been watching my master give lecture, the same lecture over and over. What is it about these lectures that compel us to seek these people who give satsang, who have been giving discourse, pretty much same discourse repeated over and over, right? At some point, I also used to get tired of listening to the same lecture. Yet I would make a plan to come and see him, next time. Make sure to attend bhandaras and different events. So there was some quality about these lectures, maybe intangibles, something that we cannot immediately call out. Yet those things are the ones that, upon reflection, I feel, called me into the room, same room as he was, telling the same jokes, giving the same analogies, recounting different stories. And surprisingly, it left a completely different impression on people's mind. We all experience through our own personality the different covers that we have been wearing, and which have been molded over time for such a long period. We all come from different backgrounds. I'm Indian, I followed a different religion. There are so many people over here of different faith. What is it amongst us that sort of connects and brings us to meet these masters, these teachers, who give us the single truth? The very purpose of them coming here, taking a birth in this life, is to give us this truth, a glimpse of truth, that we are not this physical body, we are not this physical person that we are so attached to. We have been given these names. We identify ourselves as a physical body, a particular religion. We have age, we have sex, we have different personas attached to us, depending on our profession. We could be doctor, we could be engineers, we could be businessman, and so many other things. There's so much variety in this world. It's hard to imagine. Yet, if you look at this room and people who have been tuned in, they come from different faith. They have completely different upbringing, but there is something that connects all of us into seeking this thing that we don't know what we are seeking most of the time. But when somebody like Master Ishoji comes and talks to us, we somehow resonate with everything that he says. I remember that feeling when I heard him for the first time. I realized that, okay, this is the thing I was seeking. Even I didn't know that this is what I was seeking. And I was seeking outside. I was reading books, spiritual books, what seemed like spiritual books, or books of different masters, their account of what happened in their life. But hearing somebody talk in person, you can see somebody who is alive. Although I watched his YouTube video, it had the same impact that you'd have if you met this person in person, this master in person. And I was totally blown away by the truth that was coming out from him. Every word sort of resonated in me. My whole body sort of forgot the world around me. And I'm sure a lot of you, who have been a long-time seeker must have had similar experiences. And that continued since 2014 for a long time. I remember, first few years was, it was what they say is whirlwind. It completely shook my world. And so I was completely moved. So I think the purpose for these masters here is, they play so many roles. As a older gentleman, he played a role of a old, sort of parent-like figure to us. They were able to give us instructions. I know I talked to him about establishing some businesses, and then he gave me some advice about, okay, this is the kind of corporation you should start. I was just saying it for the sake of getting him involved in my life somehow, and and yet he was telling me, okay, this is the kind of corporation you should start. Do you know what S Corp is, C Corp is? And I had no idea, So he, taught me some very basic things. And so they play a role of sort of a fatherly figure. I know he used to address a lot of disciples as their own son, as his own son, and some of the disciples also used to address him as father. So he did play a lot of that role with a lot of disciples. And he plays a role of a teacher, when he's giving us teachings about spirituality, when he's giving a lecture. He's like a teacher, So in all our life, we need a teacher to guide us. Ever since we have been going to school, elementary, starting from elementary, middle school, high school, and even in your jobs, professions, you need some mentor to guide you. We always look at somebody else, even the CEOs. I was talking to recently a satsangi. And he is a self-coach, and apparently he gives coaching to even CEOs, chief executive officer. So one would assume that chief executive officers, they have reached that pinnacle of position, so they don't need any advice. Surprisingly, even they need help at times. So everybody needs help, and apparently spiritual path is the toughest part that is out there, toughest path. Because from what these masters have said, it is fraught with different obstacles as we go inside and climb the spiritual mountains. The path is really difficult. So, and we don't know anything about that path. Most of us, who just discovered this path, do not know anything about this path as to how the journey is conducted inside. So of course we need a teacher. All our life, we have had mother, father, we have had siblings, we have had different people play the role of mentor in our life. So of course, in the spiritual path as well, we need a mentor. But now with Master gone, we are faced with this challenge as to who is going to, guide us. But he has left, there is so much video that has been recorded. And there are so many books or transcription that has been written of his lectures. We can take help of those, and we can conduct these satsangs because we know what he talked about. And some of us in this path are, have achieved quite a bit than others because everybody is following their own individual path. So we can help each other. And through these satsangs, we can remember what he taught us. And we can sort of guide each other. So most of the teachings were about, how to discover yourself. And I remember reading a lot of books in India while I was back in India. Most of the teachings were about sort of attaining something. Maybe it may be in terms of physical things. So you pray a particular kind of God to attain maybe some powers, some boons, maybe some material wealth. But I had not come across people who talked about just discovering yourself, And because, it seemed so obvious that why would you discover yourself? Don't you know who you are? It's very counterintuitive. Everybody knows who they are, you know your name, you're a physical body, you have a job. And surprisingly, this misconception, what these masters say is, this is not our true identity, and we are misconceived that we are this physical body. Yes, we do experience this physical body, but this is not the final truth, because if you analyze, at some point we are born. We of course experience children being born, growing up in different environments, and then reaching maturity, and eventually dying, right? So it cannot be the final truth that we continue to have this body and we continue to remain in this form. If you look at your own life, you can remember what happened maybe 10 years back. You're a little bit younger, and if you go all the way back to your childhood, you can remember those incidents that happened in your life. But so you can recall those things. You can as if imagine what it was like when you were maybe a 10-year-old and 15-year-old, 20-year-old, and so on. So, but the truth cannot be that you are that person, because you are experiencing at this point in time in this physical body today. So things have changed, but you still remember the fact that you were 10-year-old, 15-year-old, and you had different relationships. So things seem to be continuously changing. But you, as an experiencer, can associate with that experience. There's a wonderful story of Raja Janak. He was having a dream in the afternoon after having a lunch. And in the dream, he saw that he's fighting a war with his neighboring king. And so he fought a very tough war, but he was beaten. And the neighbor king, he told him that, okay, I'm going to, you cannot stay here anymore because you have been defeated, and you have to go into exile. So King Janak, walked out of his own state, on the part that he ruled, and went outside of the border. And he had really difficult time, because he had to walk all the way from his palace, or the place where he fought war. And he was very hungry, tired, thirsty. And as he went outside, he was looking for food. And in the outside of his state, he saw that there are a lot of people who are hungry and they're forming a queue to get food. And so he himself was tired, hungry, so he stood in the line waiting for his turn to come because he was, all these beggars were lined up. And so as he got closer to the person who was giving the food ran out, almost completely it ran out. And with his begging bowl, he was just standing. And then the man said that, okay, there is a tiny bit of morsel left in the big vessel. So do you still want it? He said, yeah, I'll have it, because there was nothing else left. And so that man who was serving the food, he took it out, gave it to him. As he put the food in his cup, a bull came running from out of nowhere, and it hit the ball, and the ball fell down on the ground. And he could not even have that small morsel of food. And then somebody started, calling his name. And then he woke up from his dream. And it was, the whole dream shook him so much that he kept asking, what is true? Is the dream true, or the fact that now I've awakened from the dream and a king, is that true? So he would just continue repeating this, ye sach, ya wo sach. In Indian language it says, is it the truth, or this is the truth? Was that the truth, or this is the truth? And anybody who would come near him, he would ask the same question. He would ask his wife the same question, and people would think that, okay, the king has gone mad. And the word sort of spread, and it happened that Ashtavakra, he was around, and he heard this news that, okay, king has gone crazy. So he decided to visit him. So as he saw the king said the same thing, ye sach, ya wo sach. And nobody, other than Ashtavakra could understand what he meant, because nobody knew he had such a devastating dream, such realistic dream. So then Ashtavakra stepped in and he said, King Janak, let me ask you this question. Did you witness the dream? Did you see what happened? Were you present? And King Janak said, yes, of course I was present. I saw it happen in front of me. Okay, now in this state, do you see everything around you? Are you present? He said, of course the king said, yes, I know this is happening, but I also know that there was a dream where I was present. Then Ashtavakra said, so only the reality is that you are present. You as a witness were present. And everything that you were seeing, experiencing was not real. Na ye sach, na wo sach. Nor that was true, nor this is true. The only fact that is true is you, the knower, experiencing is the only truth. So the masters, in different ways, different parables, have communicated the same message to us, that whatever we experience around us is not true. Everything changes. Anything that continuously changes cannot be true. Can you say that you are a 5-year-old, even though that was true at some point in time? No, it is not true. Because the moment you say that you are, let's say, 20-year-old, few months later or a year later, as soon as your birthday hits, that reality is going to change. You're not going to be the same person. And further down the road, you'll die. When you die, are you still going to be the same person? Who knows, right? If you survive after that, if you live after that, then you can say, yes, I'm not the same person. Or maybe you'll remember that you are somebody else, although in this life you are given a different name. People have, last time I was recounting a story of this small girl back in India, in Gujarat, who, so this is a village in India, and this girl doesn't want to talk in Gujarati language, and she just wants to talk in English. She watches English programs, she wants to talk to her parents in English. She calls them mom and dad, and she doesn't get along with other kids, her siblings, so she's aloof because she has vivid memory of how she was. Apparently she was in California. And so people were very curious as to what's going on with this girl. And so she sort of became maybe a celebrity in her own right, because news channels will come and cover her. And so, we take this our life as the reality, because this is the only thing we know. But the moment you get a glimpse of something else, then it strikes you that, okay, maybe this is not the only reality that we have. Maybe it may be like a dream. Because there have been so many other masters, Fahin Ishaji used to give example of Fahin, who experienced himself as a butterfly, right? And he could not distinguish whether he was a person, a philosopher, Fahin, or he was a butterfly. So imagine a situation if you are experiencing something else, like Raja Janak, then it will shake up your world. And people who have been sort of remembering their past life, or have vivid memory, or sometimes people, when they revisit some place, they have suddenly memory of that past experience, or sometimes they become nervous. I know a person, who was talking about his own experience of crossing a bridge, and then as soon as she crossed this bridge, she would feel really nervous, and she could not tell why. So she would be sitting on a train. As soon as the train would cross this bridge, she would become really nervous and start trembling, would try to run away from that place. So we cannot really understand what's going on, what is leading us to behave in such a strange way. There's no rational reason for, somebody to suddenly, even not realizing that you are crossing from a bridge, but the fact that you are in particular place, causes you to behave in certain way. When we sometimes see some friends, for the first time, we end up behaving in certain way, maybe there's a past relationship that we had that is leading us to behave in particular way. Two different people have two different reaction upon meeting the same person. Why is it so? Sometimes you can have very beautiful experience of meeting a person. Sometimes you may just, from the beginning, you may have sort of animosity towards a person without any reason. So there are a lot more going on than we can just explain away by this physical body. And so masters have come amongst us and tried to provide a sort of window into this other world that may be a truer world than what we experience right now. And he has said that we are just wearing this costume for our experience. Because at the end of the day, we are all, part of this consciousness that is meant to perceive, experience things. The fact of being a consciousness, fact of being a part of consciousness is that we are conscious. We can experience things. Otherwise, there is no meaning of consciousness. Everybody who is a human being, including other species, other, let's say, plant, insect, everybody experiences. But the body that we have been given somehow seems to be very unique. And the fact that we took this decision to come to this room, it was our deliberate move that, okay, here is a satsang going on, so let's come and attend. You could have chosen something else. So we are making this unique, deliberate decision in certain ways. And we feel that by our own decisions, we can create our own reality, which is true. That is the power we have been given in this life as a human being. And thank God we are making best out of it, of coming here, meeting this master, in the past. But because of our seeking that is happening, there are billions of people on this planet, how many of them are actual seeker? A lot of us attend the satsangs. It's nice to hear satsangs, nice to hear stories. I also used to do that. I would fly from California, come to Chicago for monthly meetings, charge up my battery for a few days, and then I would get busy in my own life. And this life is pretty hard for most of us who are trying to meet our ends meet. Sometimes multiple people are working, people are going through different kind of issues in their life. So this life is full of struggle. And with this innate power built into us as a human being, we can understand that we are going through a suffering, and we don't like this suffering. So we are out there to seek something, right? If we did not have that, we would be just like a machine. You give an input and you know exactly what the output is going to be. But we don't act like that. Even though two-person, a twin who is born in the same household, ends up becoming two different person. If we were just machines, being fed the same kind of food, same environment, probably the outcome should be same. Yet you can see that most of the twins end up choosing different life. Of course, there are twins who also end up leading the same life because they want to maybe experience the same thing. I watch some Hollywood personalities, and nowadays, a lot of comedy shows where twins sort of appear just to entertain us. So even that is possible. So this is a different kind of experience as a human being we can have, and at the same time we can have this power to discriminate between things, understand what we like, what we don't like, and sort of choose what action we want to do for the next time we are given a choice. So this unique power that we have been given is not available to other life forms, as Master used to say. That if you look at the plants and insects and even the higher beings, they disembodied spirits, they don't have this facility of choice making. They can just go through whatever is laid out in front of them, and then they sort of are set in a rail. The way if there is a railway track, what are the stations that you're going to encounter, but you cannot change them. You can just experience them, but you know what is going to happen next. So, but in our life, we don't know what is going to happen next, and because of that, that is in a way, it is an advantage to us that we don't know what is going to happen. Because of that, we can try to seek anything that we want. We can be creative about what we want. We can think that, okay, we can exit from this world and find a completely different world, right? If that was not so, if you could see what is going to happen tomorrow, then all your choice-making ability will also be taken away. If you knew tomorrow, or let's say in the evening, what meal you are going to have, then you can't be creative. You can't think of any other alternative. Maybe you'll realize that, okay, this is the only choice I have, right? So if you know what your mom is going to cook in the night, even though you don't like it, you don't have any choice. But there are other times when you actually have a choice, right? When you're grown up, when mom is not nagging you, parents are not nagging you, you can have your own choice. You can decide what you want to be. And so in our life, we have encountered so many things in our life. We have seen so many ups and downs, and probably seems like it's mostly down, Probably it is true, because of which we are here. If it was all up, why would we ever be here, listening to somebody give the same lecture over and over, right? I would not be, because I want to hear newer and newer things. I want to hear a lot of stories. I want to have fun, But I realize that, okay, with fun comes, a lot of other things also that you need to experience. It's like the Batman movie, so unless you have negative, you can't have positive. This world of duality is created in that way, And so we have experienced maybe a lot of duality, that we are now seeking something else. We are tired of playing this game. We have had too much of it. So this is our way of going back. And these masters who come amongst us, they tell us that, we have been experiencing this for a long time. And if you're a seeker, if you want to go back home, they tell us a way. They teach us practical ways of going back home, or realizing that we are not just this body that we continuously experience. And they tell us how to go back. They tell us how to meditate, and they tell us that we are conscious beings that are operating from this physical body. And they say that whatever we see outside, experience outside, it is not the reality. We are creating these realities outside us. And true way of finding who we truly are, other than this human body that we experience, is to go inward. And what is going inward? They tell us that our consciousness is spreading out from the sense perceptions that we have been given. The physical body that we have been given, that has sense perceptions, seems like sense perceptions built in. We have eyes, ears, So this gives us a means to see the world, hear the world, touch the world. And if we did not have that, let's say if we did not have any sense perceptions, can you imagine what the world will look like? We can't, because this is all the reality we have always seen, right? If you could not see, there are people who don't see, right? People who are blind, and when they get the eyesight, they suddenly find that world is so marvelous, And here we are, who we can see this world, and still we are tired of this world. We want to sort of go away and experience something else. And if you don't have this eyesight, or if you can't hear, if you're dumb, let's say, you don't have ability to speak, so you don't have these sense perceptions built in. So probably your life would look completely different, right? So your world that is created is really created because of the faculties that are built into your body. So as a human being, we have certain perceptions, certain range of perceptions built into maybe our eyes, ears, the kind of frequency that we can hear, or the visual frequency ranges that we can experience. As a human being, there are certain ranges. So because of that, we experience this particular world. And for a second, if you were to imagine that you were given a completely different range of frequency that you could experience, maybe there are lights that you could see, that is filled up in this room. If you could perceive those, then you will see that this world looks quite different, right? Like the dogs, they can hear different frequency ranges, so there's a dog whistle, and maybe there are other animals, horses and other things. They can perceive different frequency ranges. And so world definitely would look completely different for them. So the fact that we have these perceptions built in causes us to experience this reality. What if there is something under the cover? What if there are other things, that we can't experience? If we could experience that, would that be real? We go into dream, we experience dream world. We are sleeping in the bed, yet we may be running around, we may be using the senses at that point that is available in the dream. You could be running around, you could be driving a bike. I saw myself riding bicycles. I could not imagine that why I would be riding a bicycle. And a lot of different things that, maybe that's part of our desire. Those things also get fulfilled in our dream. So there are other worlds that we can actually experience other than this. So once you get convinced that, okay, there are possibilities beyond just this physical plane that we experience, material plane that we experience, and with the aid that masters provide us about meditation, how to go back, because through these physical senses, this world is created. If you are able to take those back to the place where it is emanating from, is it possible that there might be something else? At least we won't be experiencing the world that we are experiencing right now, because you can draw an analogy that when you are sleeping, when you're dreaming, you are not aware of your physical body. You are not aware of the fact that you are sleeping in a particular place. And so with the forgetfulness of this physical body, you somehow end up creating a completely other world. Seems like there is another sense perception that comes alive the moment we forget our physical body, right? So masters have given example of these natural experiences and tried to tell us that it is the main reason we don't experience something else is because we are tied down to our attachment because of the world that we have created and the world that we have created through our sense perceptions. And if we are able to somehow roll them back, if we are able to forget the world that we have created or the world that we are experiencing through our sense perception, if we are able to do that, suspend that, like in the dream, then we will be able to see what else is there. So that will take us closer to the true being we are, from their point of view, because they can experience the truth. The reason we call this meeting a satsang, monthly meeting, is we are talking about the truth as explained by the masters. And because they have continuously experienced the truth of being in that place where they know what the true reality is, and they experience this world that we are in, normal people experience as not the reality, not the true reality, but it's a changing reality. It's constantly in flux, constantly changing. And this is, so they can be at the same place, at two different places at the same time. And from that place, that is our true home, Sachkhand, the place of ultimate reality, from where they can see the whole show being created, the whole show that we are experiencing, but we cannot tap into that original place, original Sachkhand, from where everything is being created. Like the director who is making these Batman movies, series of movies, why are these things being made? These are being made for our entertainment, right? These movies, unless we were watching that, there's no point in making these movies. And some of these movies are really hilarious. Sometimes they scare us, but they do entertain us, But is there a point in all this? They say that this is all Moj. There is no particular reason for creating this. There is nothing to be gained. It's just that consciousness has this ability of creating, so it keeps creating. This world, this universe is continuously being created and continuously being dissolved. So it is unceasing process. In Indian literatures also, this is said that this creation never ends. The Brahma who is creating all these worlds, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, so Brahma creates the whole creation. Vishnu sustains everything, and then Shiva dissolves it. So these set of processes are sort of unending, from the beginning of the time this has been going on. And Ishaji also talked about dissolution. So at the end, basically, the whole thing gets collapsed back into the true home. So there is a way for us to get out of the misery we are in by not really, attaining more money or satisfying our urges, But the truth can be found out by gaining knowledge, by really realizing who we truly are. And as masters have, given methods how to take our consciousness or our awareness back to the point where it is originating from, right? So if we follow those, we'll be able to hopefully gain a little bit of window into what is out there, and we'll be able to fulfill whatever Master was trying to do here, by moving the spirituality to the West. And all of us are witness to that, and to a good degree, all of us are participating in that role of bringing the spirituality back to, over here in the West. And I know a lot of people have, taken birth here, and a lot of people physically moved from India to here. So we are, in different ways, we are playing our role. And a lot of people have gone to India. They have been chasing this thing, a seeking that they themselves did not know where it originated from, but they love Indian food. They love the way Indian women dress. They love the teachings of Indian masters. What is it about that? So that must have been some reason. Most of the things in this creation has a causal relationship. Without any cause, there is no effect. So although we cannot really understand in all ways, because we are all the time limited to this physical cover that we have been given, but masters somehow, they can talk to us from our level and tell us, like a teacher helping a student in a step-by-step manner, just telling them just enough so that a disciple can understand. And he told me one time, I was telling him some of my experiences, and he told me that everything is inside. If you just go inside, you'll find everything. So although you are so attracted by some of the things that you experienced, there's so much more inside. So they would always, in a tiny way, nudge us back to where we can find the true reality, which is always inside us. It sounds sort of counterintuitive that we see so many physical bodies, so going inside, how can it be that there are so many sort of insights, so many people are there, so how can it be that truth is still in so many individual bodies? And this is strange, that we can, as a conscious being, we can experience this world of duality where not only we experience ourselves, but we experience different characters, different people. And And masters are compelled to come as another individual person, because we don't know anything else. We don't know how to comprehend the Lord, the Creator. If He is formless, if He is sort of qualityless, there's a term called in India called nirguni. That means it doesn't have any particular attribute, a quality. He's not sweet, he's not sour, he's beyond that. So he's formless, he's nameless. And we just cannot comprehend that, because everything that we see around us has name, has physical form. And as a seeker, if a part of us is seeking that ultimate place where there's a maybe we are seeking God, we are seeking ultimate Creator, and he can hear us, he can sense what is in our heart, and if he wants to help us, how is he going to help us? If he comes as a formless being, do you think we'll be able to identify him? Maybe he's already here, but like Ishuji used to say that some people die and then they try to communicate back to their relatives and tell them, I'm here, why are you saying these things, bad things about me, or why are you saying me, I'm still here? But you can't communicate, so if there's somebody who is in a formless, not form, but he's formless, then we won't be able to perceive them, and we won't be able to understand them, right? Unless we dive into a place from where we can perceive their teaching. So they also have to take, form of a human being, and most of the time, like teachers or friends, and just ordinary person like us, so that we can hear them, make a friendship with them, and sort of hear him, So it's great that we are seeking, and he has always said that seeking is the first step. If you seek, you are going to get. Without seeking, of course, you can't get anything. Even in our normal life also, right? Whenever you have some attachment or you want to do something, say if you want to get a job, of course you have to attend interviews, or if you want to, let's say, design a website, right? You have to get in front of the computer. You have to have, everything sort of starts with that desire. There's an impulse that happens that, okay, you want something, and out of that, somehow the world gives you a means to fulfill that, So whatever you have, is probably born out of your desire. And a lot of mystics have said that, this world would not exist if we did not have that desire. The initial, even the impetus for this creation also came out of this desire, or moj. Moj is nothing but a playful desire to create something. It's like being an artist and making a painting. That doesn't mean that, okay, you really are going to get something out of the painting. But you can have anything that you want. If you could be the ultimate creator and be anything that you want, then you are just playing at that point, right? Because, you want billions of dollars, you could have it in a second, Then what would you want, You can satisfy every urges that you have. So this is how the world is created, and he is the ultimate creator, is experiencing this world through us. All of us are part of him, although that is the beauty about this creation, that even though there is only one soul, one maybe ocean, that is the one that is creating it, still we are experiencing everything as an individuated soul. And we are, just imagine the number of souls, or it is supposedly unlimited, right? So if you, as a totality of consciousness, experiencing everything that is going on in your own creation, what is the point of creating, if you can't experience, right? If you just created some character, and these characters are going about doing their own thing, you're not really enjoying it, But the best creation would be that not only you create, but you live through your creation. You know what you created, If you can't know what you created, then there's no point in creating. And if you're the most powerful one, then you would want to actually be everything. So the creation is nothing separate from the creator himself. He or she is living through us, experiencing through us. and all the emotions that are happening in us, he's also experiencing. We are not separate from him. We are, although Ishaji used to say that we are as a drop, but he also said that we are not a separate drop. We are ocean shrunk as a drop. We are experiencing ourselves separate. It's just in experience, but we have not gone anywhere. We are still in Sachkhand, but we don't know, because we have put on so many covers that we have now attached ourselves to something else. And unfortunately, because of this attachment, we keep coming back into this world. In fact, everything, if you look at what we do in our normal life, is to sort of sustain ourselves in some ways, and we just keep increasing the baggage that we have, So because of the experiences that we have, we start asking for more and more things, and at the end of the life, probably we'd have accumulated so much in our head that we want, maybe there are something left over to enjoy, and we want to again come back and enjoy those things. And thus we take another birth because of the karmic reasons, because you wanted a desire to be fulfilled, or there was some attachment that you had in the past, karmic attachment, and you had to fulfill them. So this creation keeps on going, So the best we can do is not have any attachment. But it's very difficult to do that, right? As Ishaji used to say, if I keep saying I don't like pizza, or I don't want to think about the pizza, all you're doing is talking about the pizza, So the best thing to get rid of attachment is to attach with something else. So if you're attached to cake, maybe you want to attach yourself to fruits, right? or something better. So you can, no? Yes, yeah. Sometimes we don't want to, because we are not tired of eating cake, So yeah, there are people who want to eat cake. Yeah, so be it, because the creation, if creation was just done with a particular set of, let's say, qualities or combination of qualities, a soul with particular affinity to certain things, only that were the possibilities. That will be such a mundane world. You would know, okay, these are the only three possibilities of life, and that's it. But look at the creation. It's just infinite, right? There are so many different kind of people. Even as I was saying, that even a person who is born in the same household, they think differently. Even a twin ends up thinking differently, have completely different, thought, and they completely different jobs. So it's marvelous in that way that creation is so abundant, so diverse, and as a creator, ultimate creator, he's able to experience all of them, all of these things together. It's just it's pity that we, being confined in this physical body, we don't have access to that. So we don't know what kind of joy he's having, experiencing all these bodies together. But he has also given a way and told us that we set into this journey ourselves, and because as a part of that consciousness, we wanted to enjoy this and sort of deepen our experience. The time is pretty slow here for us. We a second takes a time. You can if you're going through a misery, or if you're missing somebody, the time seems to be pretty elongated. And even though we experience maybe 80, 90-year-old, it happens pretty slowly. And it's because of that you are able to experience things in a much deeper way. So this is all experience that we ourselves picked up, according to the masters, that we decided to experience all this. And maybe, because we don't know what is in the future, so that's why we feel that we have this choice-making ability, and because of which we are a seeker and we are seeking. And this is, even that is, according to masters, is built into the package that we picked up. And I'm glad that we picked up that package, and here we are, seeking, and maybe we are still on a track, the DVD track that we picked up. But I'm glad I don't know about it. A lot of us don't know about it, and because of that, we are able to truly experience, as a creator would, the way the original creation happened, as Master said, that when in Sachkhand, in the ultimate home, if you are creating this whole, because of your Moj, if you are creating this play, at that time, probably the only time you have the real choice-making ability. And once you have done that, all we do in our life is we just act out those things. And we shut off our knowledge because we want to also experience the creation at our own level. So all of us are a creator, and we are nothing but the same creator that created the whole show. But we just have lost the connection with that. And that is also in a deliberate way when the creation happened. Because we wanted to experience. Without this, we can't experience the choice-making ability. If you knew what the future would be, then you would not. It will be boring. You'll probably wait for the whole thing to end. You'll be totally disconnected. So I'm glad that we are all human beings, and especially we are all seekers, and have known about this master Ishwapuriji and been initiated by him. And I'm just hoping for our inner doors to be open so that we can experience him and go back to that ultimate place where we could be one with him and merge into him. Thank you so much for coming to this satsang, and I'll keep seeing you next time and onwards. Thank you.